Hey folks, it's Lucy at Ballyhoo Creations, and I have a video for you about how to store supplies when you don't have very much space. The nice people at Matein sent me this sewing bag in exchange for a video review, so I played around and had some fun. Pretty substantial, like it's a really good size, and it has zippers. So the top level comes off like this. You've got a really big zipper pouch on the right side here, and then it's got all of these elastic loops where you can put all of your tools like pens, scissors, stuff like that can go in this side, and then you flip that over and you have these little tiny things over here. I've got some safety pins, I've got some of my little clover clips. I don't use a lot of tiny things, so I didn't really know what to put in here. But over here I've got, I did some of my hand sewing stuff here. So I put it in here. I've got my Thread Magic fits in there, so you can get an idea of what fits. For larger needles, because I use a lot of big doll needles that are very long, I went ahead and I just used magnets to hold them together. And then I put the magnets, I don't want to get stuck with that. I just put the magnet case in there, and that worked really well. I'm going to make sure I zip it before I flip it, because there's one more layer on the bottom, and that's the big one. It's actually got two zippers, like it's a double zip, and then so you've got these like Velcro, so you can configure this bottom however you want. And I'm using it right now. I've got some glue, and you may wonder, why do I have clear nail polish in there? Clear nail polish works the same as fray check, so it's all in there. So you can just see kind of different tools that fit. It's big enough to fit full-size pins, but I really like how you can configure this, and it comes with this little pin cushion that matches it too. Pins don't come with it, but it has this little elastic loop, so as you're hand sewing, you could, I mean, I don't do pin cushions on my hand while I'm sewing, but if you do, it does have that little loop. So I thought that was cool. I like how it's got so many pockets, like, and so many zipper pockets too, like, oh, I forgot I use a magnetic sheet for pins and needles and stuff. I just stuck it in there. So that's how I have been using it for my hand sewing. If you only have a small sewing space, like maybe you, or machine embroidery, whatever, and you have to like put the machine out on the dining table and bring your supplies with you, it's good to have like a bag or some kind of system that moves easily with you. I mean, if you don't have a whole, like I use a spare bedroom for my studio, and so I'm able to hang things up and have things on display, whereas and I've done this where all my crafting had to be done at the kitchen table, you don't have that luxury. And so it's good to have something that just has a handle. You just take it with you, you set it down, and everything you need is right there in a small space. And that's what I really like about this bag. Okay, I reloaded it and I used machine embroidery stuff instead. I'll show you what's inside. It's a little different now because I'm pretending that I have to go to my dining room to do my machine embroidery. So I put my stabilizers in the packages, fit on the top here, and even my design sheets and templates and things. These are just pieces of paper I fold in half and it fits right in there. Again, I've got scissors, marking pins, seam ripper, any kind of sewing machine embroidery, you gotta have a seam ripper, right? A little bit of glue stick to stick things down, and then flip it over. My 4" by 4" hoop even fits right in there. Yours may not, it depends on how they're shaped, but it fit. And then I noticed that these here, these little elasticy mesh pockets, are the perfect size for machine needles. And here's the organ ones in the paper, and then also I've got bobbins down here too, pre-wound or wind them yourself. So 2 to 3 bobbins fit down in there, no problem. And then I have the hoop here. I've got some little cleaning tools and, you know, tweezers. I always forgot what those are called. And then in the bottom, you know, when you don't have a lot of space, you probably don't buy big rolls of stabilizer, but there is a small roll here that I can fit in there. This is a 8" wide roll, and that fit in there. And then I've got different fat quarters and stuff of fabric, and then the spools even fit in here. These are the small spools from sim thread, which I know a lot of you like to buy those on Amazon, but they're shorter. But these are the full size spools. This Floriani, this is a glide, this is a embellish, and they're the full size cones of thread that we use in machine embroidery, and they fit in there just fine, and the lid closes just fine. So all the machine embroidery stuff fits in there really great. I'm pleased with this. I like it. If I had a small space to work in, I would like to have a bag like this that's very well compartmentalized and organized like this. I think it's pretty cool. You know, I never want to like whitewash and tell you everything's great. There's always something wrong with any product. And my only problem with this is, one is that I don't know that it comes in any more colors than the lavender, and that doesn't really match my aesthetic in my studio, so I'm not sure that I would want to have it like sitting out on display. So the color was one thing, and I did look on Amazon. I didn't see that they had a lot of color options, so that was one complaint that I had. The other thing is the elastic loops that I was showing you. I think that I would prefer it if some of them were a little smaller for some of the smaller tools, but you can certainly make it work. And then there's so many different like zipper pouches. You could always put the tools in a pouch instead of in the little loops. And the only other thing that I noticed was the bottom portion. If you don't fill this up and have it like, you know, something kind of sturdy in the bottom, then this bottom part will collapse a little bit. So you do need to put something that's kind of sturdy and structural in the bottom, like fabric or stabilizer. Spools of thread is perfect if you have a box or something like that. All of those will keep it very sturdy. But overall, I really like it. I think it's a really neat little bag to keep everything in its place and organized. It's easy to take with you. I used to go to a friend's house and a bunch of us would get together and craft, and I would usually like take my hand sewing and sew up the backs of dolls and stuff, and I needed a good bag to do that, and I didn't have one, and I kind of wish that I'd had something like this with all those little compartments. That would have been perfect because it doesn't take up much space when you open it. It only takes up, you know, double this on the table, but everything's in there, and that's a really great thing too, because usually when you're working in a small space, table space is at a premium. So the smaller area that you have to take up with your supplies, the better. So this bag is good for that. I keep putting it on the wrong side. So this bag is good for that. Okay, so that was the sewing bag review by Matein. It's on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description box if you want to be able to find it, and that will be an affiliate link. I'm not getting paid to make this video or anything, but they did send me the bag at no charge so that I would review it and tell you about it. If I were working in a small space, I would definitely want something like this, and even in a larger space for things that I use less often and like to tuck away, I'll be using this bag for that too. Got any other tips for supplies and storage in a small space? Leave a comment down below, and I will be bringing more machine embroidery and a lot more doll making videos to you in 2022. I'm shifting my focus. Instead of working on a lot of designs for my Ballyhoo Creations embroidery design shop, I'm doing a lot more video content on YouTube and Skillshare. You will see more doll designs, more in the hoop dolls on the embroidery machine, and then also just tips and tricks for machine embroidery. I'll have all of that for you in the coming year. So like, subscribe, do all that funky stuff that people ask you to do on YouTube, and I'll see you later, folks.